one other song I was always intrigued about was the Five Man and a Mic, because that one I wanted to get from you when you're doing a posse cut and also working on the production and also rhyming. How do you find you're switching back through the different hats and knowing you're only going to have one verse, or knowing you got to share the mic and change the beats and do all this stuff?
Well, I ain't care about sharing the mic. I always like to showcase other artists. I like to put people on. I've taken probably the whole hood on the road. I've taken everybody on tour. I've flown everybody around the world. Like, that's what I do. I don't care. If I have access to it, I give others access to it because they need to see what I'm seeing. Seeing is believing. And it helped a lot of people because they were able to take themselves out of their everyday box and see other places, other things, and understand the industry a little better, how it works, and get themselves involved.
Okay. Now, the Living Like a Star, I always like the sense of playing off the I Cram to Understand You from Light.
Right. That's how it began. It actually began as, every album, once again, what I do is put different type of songs. That's one song about clowning on the girls. And, as MCs, that's what we do. We have songs where we clown on girls. So I thought about, okay, now what was I going to do? And then I said, well, I know Light just did Cram to Understand. I could do a little spin-off for that because I love that song. You know what I'm saying? So I started it off like that and then went into my story.
Okay. And what did you like about Light's song in particular?
The shit was raw. The beat, the way she came in on it, it was just raw. That was a hit. That was a hit record. Everybody loved that shit. So basically, it was just a play on the words at the beginning, and then I just went into my own tales because hers was a story too. So she told her story. I had my story. I said, all right, well, let me just do a quick spin, and it's a way to show homage as well. I've sampled a lot of artists and use a lot of artists on my hooks that I look up to, respect, and admire. And I've never had any legal repercussions or anybody coming at me crazy because we family. And if they sample me, I've never came at any hip hop artist over a sample of me. That's not what we do. Even though there are legalities involved, I'm sure if somebody else sampled my shit now, I probably would go get at them, but not a hip hop artist doing what we do. You understand?
Right.
If it's somebody on TV or film or this or that trying to capitalize off my shit, okay. But if it's a scratch, that's what hip hop is. If it's a reference, that's what hip hop is. Who hasn't referenced me? What I'm gonna do? Come at everybody because they saying my lyrics? No, that's an honor and a privilege. Emulation is the highest form of flattery.
Absolutely.
And then next is buying them a drink, and I don't drink.
There you go. Now the next, what was going on between then and when the next time I really saw a big thing was when you produced for Tupac to Guess Who's Back. So
all kind of legalities with Profile Records. They were an independent label. They were a record label, distributor, and a manufacturer all in one. And they control all the books. And they said what they want. They did what they wanted. So I wasn't never really with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting played. I'm not getting underpaid. And I'm not getting disrespected by anybody, anytime. I don't give a fuck who. Right? I don't care what uniform, what badge, what color, what gender. I don't do that shit. So, they was playing with my paper, so we had to go to the legal route. So I done had to sue them twice. Yeah, they came up off my bread, but long story short, I fulfilled my agreement to them and my obligation. They got some albums cut off too because they tried to trap me up. And we just they try to trap me up for like double the albums that I thought. They put in the options, and the options meaning that they can exercise the options for an additional album per term. If that make any sense to any of you out there.
What was the other lawsuit?
Oh, them fucking around again. I don't play.
Oh, okay.
I sue your ass too. Fuck around.
So how did you get to do the Guess Who's Back with Tupac?
Well, Tupac was my homie. Right? I knew him before he was making records. You know, he used to be a roadie with Digital, and you know, they used to be on tour with myself and Latifah a lot, and they knew them. And you know, my girl, one of Latifah dancers was my girl, and they used to always be on tour hanging out. And be like, she introduced me to Pac, you know, Kika. She introduced me to him, and we've been cool ever since. Like, anytime I go to Cali or he was in New York or whatever, holla. I mean, one time he drove all the way from the Bay to come fuck with me and just chill. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of love like we had. But he said that he was doing an album and they gave him, you know, a record deal. So we did Guess Who's Back on his first album, and then we did another cut, Open Fire, on another album. But yeah, rest in peace to Pac.
And what was at this point different for you about producing for artists outside of your camp?
Well, to me, I only produced for people that I fucked with naturally. I didn't go out looking for production work. I didn't care about that. I didn't need that. I just wanted to produce for myself and people that I fucked with. So Tupac was somebody that I fucked with, and when he told me he was doing an album, he said, "You got any beats?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I got beats for you." So he came to the studio in Brooklyn, and we laced them up. And same thing with Biggie, Boot Camp. Everybody that we worked with, they, you know, they were people that we had personal relationships with, not people that were doing well and we were on a bandwagon. You understand? We don't. I'm not chasing chasing nobody else's shit.
Right.
Right. So we worked with Pop on a few albums. We worked with Biggie on the Junior Mafia album. Actually did the Junior Mafia album. The only one they did. What happened was I submitted some tracks for Biggie's album, and Puff ain't picked nothing. And I was like, all right. So one day Klepto comes to the studio, and Klepto was like, "Yo, Biggie gonna put us on." I'm like, "Word, my G, congratulations," because you know, for somebody to put you on like that, you know, just out the blue. And then Biggie was real hot at that time. He just dropped. He was super hot. So he was like, "Yo, you got beats?" I was like, "Hell yeah." So I started recording with him off top, because that was already my guy. Me and Klepto grew up together. And then he brought JM and Biggie through, and we started recording with all of them. And we ended up doing 3 songs on that album. Yeah.
And what was the vibe, or what made Junior Mafia special in your opinion?
Well, my thing was I'm loyal. So Klepto, we went to school together. We grew up together. Like, you know, it's a different level of loyalty to somebody like that. So when Klepto came to me and said that they gave him the opportunity to do something, I said, hell yeah, I'm gonna help you. No brainer. So it really didn't have nothing to do with nobody else but Klepto.
Okay.
But then when they all came through, we got to know everyone. It was all love. And, you know, Biggie came through and did recording, and it was all love, man. He was just full of laughter and fun, man. It was just like any other crew. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have camaraderie and laughter amongst each other. Y'all clown on each other. Shit like that. And then it was healthy competition, too, even lyrically. You know what I'm saying, in the studio. So that's how they kept each other sharp.
Okay. And then with the Crooklyn Dodgers, of course, another famous thing that you did. What What was the significance, would you say, of that doing the Crooklyn song for your legacy?
Well, for me, that was that was good for me because I would have rather it be me to partake in anything having to do with Brooklyn like that because I put Brooklyn on my back from day one. Flatbush, I got specific with it. I'm like, Flatbush, Brooklyn, motherfucker, period. Everywhere. I put that shit on my back, my neck, my sleeve, my shoes, everything. So, so when they did that and they called me, it felt organic. Like, thank you. At least somebody recognized the effort that I put in for my town, my borough. You know what I'm saying? Because anything could have happened to me. I'm going everywhere talking the most shit. You heard about Flatbush, Brooklyn, all over the world. So anyway, yeah, that's it.
So that was produced by Tribe, and then you've worked with Biggie, worked with Tupac, you worked with Howie T, you worked with so many of the, I would say, the greats up to this point in your career. So what different, or what were some of the main things you learned that were the same from some of them and different? Like what made them similar and different?
Well, I learned how other people work, their styles of recording, and techniques. Just to see how other people do shit differently. Not everyone does it the same. Just like when I told you I do the song first and the hook last, you're like, oh really? So yeah, it's just learning, seeing different ways of doing things.
And what was something that really struck you as unusual?
Maybe wanting to finish everything right there on the spot.
Okay.
Because for me, I always took my time and got it to where I wanted it, sat with it. And I mean, you can always come back to something and change stuff, but I think for the most part, people are making more complete recordings on the spot rather than sit with the music and develop it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do you prefer to do it the way you do it?
Well, it just gives me an opportunity to really consider what I want to say and anything that I want to hear sonically.
Okay.
You get more opportunity and option. I think that's why Dr. Dre takes so long to release material because he really gets into it and perfects it to that level. He doesn't just record it and put it out. You know what I mean? He can, but he doesn't. He sits on it, tweaks it, works it, and masters it to where it's pretty much undeniable when it's done. So that's why I like to kind of master things and not just rush it.
Okay. And then speaking of Dre, and then how, I know this is much later, but I'll ask now, but how, when, and why did you develop your relationship with Snoop and the Dog Pound?
Well, I'm a, I think I have a relationship with every artist I come across because I'm really personable and I think they have a respect for me because of what I put into the game. You know what I'm saying? And they all kind of saw me do it. So it's like, that's validation right there. So I think that they just kind of meshed with me in a way. And Snoop actually reached out and sought me out, and I respected that. I'm like, hell yeah, what's up? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? To me, I don't have any reservations about working with anybody. I love all the artists. I think that um, all the positive artists. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the bullshit and the foolery. But if they have a good intent or real intent, they're doing what they're supposed to. I'm for that. I'm for progression. Period. They hiring people. They feeding families. They creating commerce. You know what I'm saying? So I respect all of that. So sometimes it ain't necessarily about the hit records, but it's about what you have, the wealth you have created for more than just yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And did you move to LA to be with them, or had you already been out in LA?
Oh nah.
Okay. What happened?
Now I moved to LA because I'm a boss. I wanted to go live in LA and see how it was. So I bought a house in Burbank, right next to Warner Brothers Studios.
Okay.
That's what I did.
And what year was that approximately?
I turned 30 and I moved I bought a house in Burbank and moved to. I got married. I had a son, and I was like, all right, well, I want to live in California now. I was like, all right, I've been in New York long enough. Let me go see what's on the other side of the country. So I went and got a crib out there, and it was nice. I stayed out there for 3 years, but what I found was that I didn't have any family out there. Yeah, and then I was actually my wife at the time had got pregnant again, so I was like, damn, I'm on my second child, no family, no relief, no babysitter, no nothing. Like, so he's like, let's go back to the East Coast. So we ended up going back down to the Florida side. And we had some family there. Things was a little easier and more manageable, easier to reach people. Man, when you 5 hours away flying, that's rough.